Okay guys, so this is what is happening. We are looking at now how to generate queries. Now queries are very simple, not very difficult to work through. You just have to make sure that you do one thing first. Make sure you create a relationship so you can connect the different tables. Now these are not a database that was already prepared. Actually, it's one of my students' SBAs that I'm actually working with, so you can have an idea of how it works. Now to create relationships, yes, to create relationships before you start to do queries, the first thing you have to do is go to database tools. Open a database, of course, see the tables on the left, go to database tools, and then click relationships. Now when you click relationships, you will see, this is what you will see, exactly like this. It comes up with a little dialog box asking you the different tables that you have available to create the relationship, right? Because I already did relationships with this database, or the student did, then that is why it showed up with a blank area here, because I deleted the relationships and the tables in this window. But you'd have a add tables or show window option there, and this is exactly what you'd see. So I want to add each table, so click on each table, company, select add, then DB financials, database financials, select add, then visitors, and select add. The tables are added behind this window, so that's why it doesn't show up. All right, this is what we have here. Okay, so let me see if I can rearrange this a bit so my life is a little bit simpler. So how do we generate these or create these relationships first of all? All right, based upon the database that we're doing, that company, database financials, and the visitors, because of the SBA that we're doing. Now let me show you something here. For the company, we have what is called here the company name, Bert's, all right, MMHS, NCB, and Shaymark. So these are the companies. We have to link that to the next the table that has similar information in the field. So this field will relate to this field here. Realize the data is the same. If you look at both, the data is the same. The field names may be different, but the data in the field is the same. So we'll be able to create relationships with that. Now in database financials, the visitor ID here is the same thing as visitor ID here. So let me show you how we relate those tables now. How to do the relationship, to close all the tables first. Now company name will be dragged over to institution here. So you simply pull over. Let me show you again. Point on the name, hold the mouse button, and pull all the way over to institution. And for CSEC purposes, it's good to enforce referential integrity. Also, generally professionally when you're working. What this is showing here is that each company name was listed once in the company table. Here, see, Bert's, MMHS, NCB, Shaymark was listed once. But in the visitor table, was it the visitor table? Or, let me check and make sure. In the, yes, the visitor table, what you find is that they were listed several times. Each company was listed more than once. That is why it is a one-to-many relationship. All right. Now, visitor ID here will be pulled over to visitor ID here, and that should enforce referential integrity, and click create. Oh, it's open now. Sorry about that. Should close this table. All right. So pull this over, visitor ID here to visitor ID here, and enforce referential integrity. Click create. And now we have a one-to-one relationship. So it's one-to-many, one-to-one, because the three relationships that you can have is one-to-one, one-to-many, as you see here, and you also have many-to-many. All right, but many-to-many will not be demonstrated today, because the main purpose of today really is to demonstrate queries. So now that we're done with that, we have created our relationships. We save it, make sure we save it, and then now we go to create, and now we select in the query section, query design, and then let us add these tables. Click close. And let me move this one over here because it looks kind of funny like that. Alright, now let's get to work. What if we want to generate a relationship, a query showing persons, all the persons in the database along with their discount types, whatever discount they got. So let's select first name, last name. We can select gender too as well, gender, and their package discount. All right, now if you notice, as I double clicked on each field, it fell into this grid down here. All right, and this grid, let me run this query first of all. Let me run the query. I'm simply lengthening this field so you can see all this table, so you can see all the fields. Let me run this query now. So we have all the names of the persons: first name, last name, gender, and the package discounts. If you notice in this grid area down here, you have field. So here's the field name, first name, last name, institution, gender, whichever one, the field name. And then in the row below we have table, it has the table where that query is being pulled from. Sort would indicate, do you want to sort, let's say last name, sort last name ascending. So we know what will happen. The results will sort the last name in ascending order. All right, go back to design view. And this one that says show simply means, do you want this field to show up in the query or not? If I remove the tick by clicking in that option, you see last name doesn't show up anymore. Go back to design view. Let me put that back. All right. And the criteria row and the or row is where we're going to be doing all our work this morning. All right. Hope time is not ticking by too quickly. All right. So let us look at this again now. So we have the first name, the last name, gender, and so on, and package of all the persons in the database. But what if we only wanted females? Under female, under gender, we put F and run that query. Now we only have the females showing up. All right. If we only wanted males, then we would put the M in the criteria row, run the query, and now we only have males showing up. If you notice, we did not put M on the last name or first name because that would create a little bit of an issue. Let's put it there and see what happens now. We don't have anybody with a last name saying M. There's nobody with a last name saying M. We have persons who may have M in their last name or even their last name starting with M. McLean, Millen, a lot of Millens here, and so on. So this is what happens. All right, let me see if I can scroll a bit. So this is what we have. However, if we want to see a list of persons whose last name is with M, we can put M and then the asterisk. In other words, a wildcard saying anybody whose last name starts with the letter M, no matter the letters that come afterward, and now we only get the persons whose last name start with M. This is what we call a wildcard. All right, but not so much on that today. That's not our focus is today. So when we have a query where we have nothing in the criteria row, there's a criteria row, criteria or nothing there, it's a simple query. If we have only one thing, for example, greater than, let's say greater than discount of, let's say 1%, only these show up, which is 10%, or let's say greater than or equal to. There are some 10% discount persons, I think. Nobody with a 10% discount? Interesting. All right. I'll just say females as well. Females. So all the females who female more than 10% discount or 10% or more, that's what that query shows. All right. So this is an example of a compound query. All right, let me remove that. All right, now let's go to another query. What if we want all the persons? Let me start a new query. Just save myself the trouble and start a new query. All the persons who are overseas persons. All right, so let's create query design, and let me add visitors and financials. Close. I don't need the other table. So all the persons, first name, last name, and status. Run this query. Non-resident. So all the persons who are, let's say resident. Resident is easier to work with. So resident. And run the query. That's what it is. So all of these persons are residents. Alright, now we can scroll down to the bottom and we see exactly what's going on there. 31 persons. Alright, go back to design view. Let me erase this and check on something. Let me see how many persons are there in total. 42 persons. So we can say there are 10 persons who are non-residents. Alright. So this is an example of how queries work. But there's something else I want to show you about running compound queries. Let us see now. I want to choose an appropriate data type. Let's say duration of stay. Duration of stay. Let me say duration of stay. I run this query. So we have persons who are staying for 3 days, 2 days, 4, 7. Alright. So we want a person who are staying between a range of days. You are staying more than 3 days, but less than 7. Less than 7. So I put greater than 3 and less than 7. When I run this query, this is what I get. 4 days and 5 days. Because I said in this query, for the duration of stay, greater than 3 and less than 7. So all the persons who are staying more than 3 days, but less than 7 days. This becomes extremely useful when you're working with dates in particular. Date of reservation. Run this query. September, the 17th of September, down to, let me see now, let me sort this in order. Let me sort this. I can sort from here as well. Ascending. So from the 8th of January to the 17th of September. So I want all the persons who are in February, just February. So let me run this now. I wonder what year it is. Let me see. Greater than or equal to the first, the first of the second / 2021 and less than or equal to the 28th of February 2021. This is how I'm running this query. I'm hoping the year is 2021 and run this query. So it's not 2021. Let me try 2020. Alright. See if this will work for me. 2020. Run the query. Alright, good. So it's for the year 2020. So all these persons, I have some January persons here. That should not be. Let me look at this again. Greater than or equal to the first. I wonder if this is written the way Americans write dates. The second of the first. Delete. Alright, let's run this now. This query, hold on a sec. Delete. Let's run. Alright, so all these persons now are born in February. Not born, sorry. Made their reservations in February. So therefore we're realizing that for this query, when we want a particular date, we can run a compound query exactly like this. And a particular date, born day, 1st, or made a reservation, I keep saying born, made a reservation between the 1st of February to the 28th of February. And that's one other query there, compound query. All right, let's move on a bit. Let me save this query as, save it as February. Feb QRY. There's one or two other type of queries. So to create, query design, and let us select visitors. Click close. What if I want to run a query and I want the gender? I want to count how many persons made reservations for per gender. How many males, how many females. So I selected gender twice. What I'm also going to do is right click in the grid area down here, select totals, and then in the group by anyone, I can choose this one or this one, doesn't matter. Let me choose this one. And in one of the group by areas, I'll select count and run the query. So females 29, males 14. So with this query, I want to count the amount of females and the amount of males. So I selected the gender twice. Make it pull down here, and then in one of them it could be either one, group by here. Let me select count over here, count, and run the query. Same thing. All right, that's how that query works. All right, so count by gender. Click OK. All right, and let me see another query now. A query where we want to do a calculation. And this one I'm going to make pretty simple. All right. I want to check something here. Number of persons, duration of stay. Let us say we're doing a promotion and we want to add 5 days to everybody's duration of stay. I want to add 5 to it. So let's get going. Create, we're doing another promotion, query design, and we want to add 5 days to everybody's duration of stay. All right, let me see this here. Financials, close. Let me see. For last name, first name, and duration of stay. And we want to add 5 to that. So let's say promo is what we want to call the field that we want to do the promotion with. We want that field to show up as the heading promo. All right, and now what we do is to put this field name, duration of stay, inside square brackets. So it's duration of stay, close the square brackets and say plus 5. So we add 5 to everybody's duration of stay, and when we run this query, now we see this person was staying 3 days, now they have 8. This person was staying 2, now they have 7. So we see that that actually worked out just the way we expected it to do a field calculation. All right, so that's how that query works. And let's call this 5-day promotion. 5-day promotion query. And that's that. So those are the queries that I need to have an idea about. Simple queries where you have no entry in the criteria row, or you have just one. Compound queries where you have an and as well as an or, and maybe I should show you an or query. Maybe I should do that. All right, let me see now. And we have field calculations where you do a calculation with an entire field. But to do that, that is where you now use a field name row. The very first row, the field row, and make sure you put the name of the field. If you don't put the name of the field there and put a colon, what will happen is that it shows up like this with an expression 1. But to avoid that, you simply put in the name of the field. Let's say we call it bonus. Bonus, colon, the square bracket includes the name of the field and the close, then you do the calculation on the outside. Even if you want to add another field, you'd have to put that field name in square brackets again outside. All right, but let's do an OR query. An OR query. Create query design, and let's just work with the visitors this time. Add close, just this one field, so we can see, get a feel of it. All right, institution, phone number. All right, let's run this query. First name, last name, institution, gender. Let's run this query, see what happens. So we have all the persons in the table. Now what if we only want the persons in NCB? So we'll go under institution and select NCB, type in NCB, run that query. So everybody here is under NCB, whether they are male or female. But what if we also want all the persons who are NCB or they are females? What this will show up is all the females, and any male that shows up must belong to NCB as the other requirement. Notice that gender, show the females, is an OR query. Show all the persons in NCB, whether they are male or female, doesn't matter, or the other persons who are females. Let's run this query now. So well, we get 30. All right, so notice any male that's here is in, let me sort this, ascending. So all the females that are here, because we asked for females, and notice any male that showed up, oh, there's only one, was under the company name NCB. That is how a compound query works, an OR query, or QRY. This is an example of an OR query. Really? My query not showing up like that. Right? This is an example of an OR query. Run. Gender, what happened? Gender. Something went wrong with my query a while ago, even though it ran properly. Alright, let me get rid of this. Delete. And then select gender again. And then put F. And then run. Good to go again. Alright, let me just save it. And it will save with the original name that I gave it. Alright, so we're fine with that query. Now you know all the different kinds of queries. Alright, and let me go back through this one. I want to make sure you understand this one as well, because I didn't think I did that one justice. Let me go back to this query. This is where you want to do a calculation. We have gender, next of kin. Let me create a fresh query. Query, design. Let's say financials, close. What if we wanted to see the cost? Cost. Run this query. We get all the various costs listed here. Alright? All the various costs. But what we can do is right click in the grid area here, select totals, and in the row that comes up that says total here, we can select what's the total cost that person's paid when you add up all the various costs together. The total cost will be 2,995,000. Alright, that's what showed up there. Or we can do the average that someone paid, average, run that, $71,309, or even the highest cost, max. So that's how that query works. We want to do a calculation with a particular field. Alright, pretty simple. Queries aren't difficult, they're very, very easy. Alright, so that's it guys, have a good day.